All right. Okay, so we've got Premiere and we're going to start editing in Premiere. There are so many things and shortcuts. There's so many things to know and so many shortcuts that will make your life easier. But I just want to go through this again so that you can see how to edit in Premiere. First off, I'm in the editing workspace. So if you go to View, Workspace, Editing, this is how I'm in. This is why Premiere looks this way with 4 different quadrants. The bottom quadrant is where you see all of the files that you've pulled into Premiere. Anything you've imported into Premiere, this is where you see that. So I'm going to click the top video, scroll to the bottom, hold down Shift, and then I'm going to click and drag these files onto my timeline. My timeline is where I'm going to be editing. So this is really helpful. This is where I'm going to be editing. When I moved all of those files onto the timeline, it created what's called a sequence. So you can see this icon here is different. And I'm going to rename this B-roll. And I actually like to move. So I'm going to click my sequence on the icon and click it and drag it all the way down so that my B-roll is outside of my video folder. The other thing that I like to do, so you can either select all of this and move it over and pull 1 or 2 things to the left as you edit. Or another thing that I really like to do is I'm going to go over here to my sequence and I'm going to right click on the icon and I'm going to duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate it. And now I'm going to say draft 1. So when I double click on it, it opens up another sequence, which looks just like my B-roll sequence, but I'm going to delete everything on draft 1. The reason that I duplicate a sequence is so that it has the same settings. There's a lot of different formats of video, but we're working with the same footage. And so I just want to keep that format consistent. It's really just about consistency in Premiere. So this is where I'm going to have all my B-roll on my B-roll timeline, and then I'm going to have my draft, which is where I'm going to edit. So on B-roll, I'm just going to scroll through until I see a piece of footage that I like. And it's helpful. One of the ways that I engage with Premiere, I like to kind of stretch all of these sections out so that I can see, I'm able to see a lot of my timeline, right? Let me see if I can make this a little face bigger. So I can see a lot of my timeline, right? The other thing is this little blue thing is called your cursor, and you're able to zoom through on using your cursor. And you will see what's on your timeline in this bottom right-hand quadrant. You'll see what's on the bottom right quadrant. You'll be able to see it on the top right quadrant. Okay. The other thing, so if I use the space bar and I press the space bar, it plays. I press the space bar, it stops. That's a very helpful shortcut, the space bar, right? The other one is if I want to go back a few frames or forward a few frames, I'm just going to use my arrow key. So I can just click my arrow key or click my arrow key the other way, and it allows my cursor to move one way or the other. The other thing I frequently use is I use my plus and minus keys. So if I use my plus key, it allows me to zoom way in. I can make this so I can see my waveforms. So it allows me to zoom way in. So this is going to be very helpful, especially for audio, but it also allows you to kind of see the movement of where things begin. It's just sometimes easier to edit if you're able to get really close to know kind of where things happen. So like I can, if I zoom way in, I can actually see my cursor move every frame, right? So I'm often using my space bar to play and pause, zooming in and out with my plus and minus keys, and then going forward and backward just a few frames with my arrow keys on my keyboard. All right. Those are probably the most important shortcuts that I use. Great. So that's how I move around and navigate my timeline. So I'm going to plus, right? And then I'm going to minus. So I usually zoom out and then use my cursor to find the video that I want to start with. So let's say this one, maybe I want to start with this video of my friend Quinn. This video of my friend Quinn. I'm actually just going to move me over here so I can be really big, but you can kind of see everything over here clearly. Okay. So I'm going to start with this video of my friend Quinn dealing out the cards. Okay. So we're here. I'm going to zoom in now to try to get to the beginning of a movement, right? All right. So I like this. So now I'm going to start cutting. So I can either use this razor tool. Premiere usually has two ways to do things, at least. This razor tool, and I can come over here and just make a cut. And you'll see that it creates a cut in your footage. Or I can go here and I can use a shortcut, Command K. Command K. Now I play until I get to the next thing that I want. Okay, so I'm looking for this movement, okay? So one card was flipped and I'm gonna do Command K. Okay, so this is the movement that I'm gonna be looking for. I've cut on either side of the sequence that I wanna use. I have my arrow selection tool. I'm gonna click on this, Command C, go over to draft one, Command V. Perfect. Now I'm gonna go to B-roll and I'm gonna look for this motion in another clip and another angle, right? So I'm gonna go here. I'm like, maybe this is a good one. So it's not going to be perfect. So here, nothing was dealt out already, right? But here there's a lot of dealing. But I'm going to just kind of go here, cut, Command K, space bar. Okay. And then I'm going to Command K. Now I'm going to copy it, Command C, go over to draft one and paste it, Command V. All right. So this video now looks like this. Okay. It's not perfect, but I'm aiming for that matched action. And I urge you to try to get as close as you can to perfection. Okay. So the end of this clip, I'm zooming all the way in, leaves me here. Now I need to go somewhere else in my footage. So I'm going to use my cursor to kind of look around. Okay, perfect. If I get eyeballs, anything else can be happening. So here, maybe I'm going to look for, she dealt on the right-hand side. So I want her looking on the right-hand side. I'm going to come here, Command K, spacebar, Command K, select my clip, Command C, get over here, and I'm going to Command V. Here's the deal. So I pasted, and you can see that there's a gap between these clips. All right. There's a few ways that you can do everything in Premiere. One way is to click in between, in the middle, right click and ripple delete, which pulls it forward. The other thing that I could have done, Command Z undoes, is make sure that this little magnet tool is connected, and then I can just move my clip over and it'll snap into place, right? So now this cut goes kind of here, which allows me freedom to do something next. So now I can go kind of wherever I want to. Maybe I want this, maybe I like this kind of clip. Right? So maybe I like this clip. Maybe this is the next thing you see. I'm gonna ripple delete. So we look, and sometimes it's fun to cut really close to motion. So I'm actually gonna move this shorter. This is helpful. How do you edit a clip that you've put on your timeline to make it shorter or longer? If you hover on the clip, you'll see this red arrow, right? Okay, so this red arrow, I'm gonna click and move it over, and then move my clip over. Okay, So now when I play, an action happened. If I want the clip to actually be longer than it is, same idea. I can hover and get that little red arrow and pull the clip out to get even more footage. Cool. And then if I want to undo it, I can Command Z and undo. So at the end of this, there's a card that's down, a hand that's down. So I'm looking for that in another location. So maybe, and I'm using my little keyframes to move. So maybe I would be here, Command K. Maybe I want to be here so that I can see her picking up a card. So now I want to get a close-up of maybe picking up a card. So I'm going to use my keyframes to kind of get in there to see, right? Okay. So maybe we have that. And we'll see how this all plays together. Right? So you're going to be trying to make matched action happen. I want you to be looking to try to put things together that make sense. And I don't care at all about audio for this project. And so I'm just going to mute this portion so that when it plays, I don't actually hear anything, right? You can leave it if you want to, but I'm not caring about me. I don't care about this at all. So audio, this is not an audio assignment. This is only for visuals. All right. So those are really the main things. The other thing that you might find is that maybe you go to B-roll and you have another clip that you really want to begin with, right? So maybe let's say I want to start with this clip. I'm going to Command K, space bar. Right? Okay. So I don't know, maybe there's like a laugh that I like. Okay. So I'm Command Z-ing to go back a little bit. I'm focusing. You can tell it's like going in and out of focus, but maybe I like that. Okay. So let's say I actually want to start with this clip. I am just going to select these, move them over, paste my clip, Command V, right click, ripple delete, and now all of a sudden I can be here. Right? These clips don't quite match actually, because I know that she's dealing the cards. So I might think, oh, actually that doesn't really match. I'm going to delete that, right click, and ripple delete to pull it back over. So this is going to be that editing process. I think it's going to be most helpful for you to have all of your footage on one timeline and then copy and paste, make cuts, and pull footage from your B-roll onto your draft one. Great. So try to get that matched action. Give me a lot of different angles, and I want you to turn in a 1-minute video. That's all. So how do I export a video and put it on Google Drive when I'm done with my video, right? You want to just make sure that the bottom right quadrant is selected. Whenever you're ready, then you go to File, Export Media. Here, you're going to choose your format. For this, you can just say Match Sequence Settings. Where it's blue and has the title, this is where I'm going to rename it my name, Evie Wilson Weatherby Cards. This is my video. And I'm going to go find my project folder and then my export folder so that I can always find the things that I've made in Premiere, because anything I made is in the export folder. Then I'm going to press save and I'm going to export it. It's going to take a little bit of time to export. And then when I go to that folder on my desktop, here it is. Here's the export folder. This MPG is what I'm going to put on Google Drive. And it tells you information about it. This is 19 seconds long. I want yours to be a minute. If yours is 10 minutes long, that means you have something else on your timeline in 10 minutes away from now, that's there. So just delete anything extraneous on your timeline so that it is only the amount of time that we want to see. Okay. So I would just click on it and watch it. Right. Okay. Make sure that you like the way that it feels. Okay. You feel good about it. Right. And then you're going to drag that file into the link on Google Drive. So this is what we're going to watch. Okay. I hope this helps. Email me if you have questions. I'm also going to link to a Premiere Pro shortcuts, but Google shortcuts. Watch this video over and over and pause so that you can learn and figure out how to do these things. And later on in the semester, we're going to have editing sessions so that I can watch you edit and help solve some of the problems that you run into during the time. But thank you.